Friday was foggy around Avdiivka in eastern Ukraine. Sensing an opportunity, the Russian army organized a hasty assault on the Ukrainian garrison south of the city. It failed for all the usual reasons. But many of the attacking Russians survived, because the Ukrainians ran out of mortar bombs, grenades and explosive first-person view drones. I need to say that we are experiencing a lack of ammunition, one Ukrainian drone operator wrote. The Russians attacked in two teams, each with a tank and a BMP fighting vehicle. The small size of the assault force is consistent with the overall trend in Russia's two-month campaign around Avdiivka. The Russian attacks are ongoing but with reduced intensity this week, analyst Tom Cooper wrote on Monday. There are fewer waves. Each wave used to consist of 15 to 20 soldiers, but they now have as few as 6. The Russians popped smoke to add to the cover the fog already was providing, then rolled toward Avdiivka in broad daylight on Friday. The Ukrainians were watching the likely assault routes with a hovering drone, but the smoke and fog made it almost impossible to see the approaching attackers. Then, a stroke of luck for the Ukrainians. The lead tank in the lead time rolled over a mine. That's when the attack began to fall apart. Russians started retreating, the Ukrainian drone operator wrote. Try to guess who was the first to run? Exactly, the crew of the tank. In quick succession, mines, most likely, also disabled the tank and the BMP in the second Russian group. The surviving Russians hustled back to their lines, on foot and in the open. The same drone that initially spotted the attack was overhead with a clear view of the Russian survivors. They should have been easy targets for Ukrainians firing 40mm grenades or launching FPV drones. We just don't have ammo for mortars and MARK-19, grenade launchers, the main weapons of a battalion, the drone operator wrote. There also were no FPV drones available. That's really our artillery right now. That's why we need drones all the time. Unlike the 13,000 other Russians who've been killed or maimed around Avdiivka since October, the Russians who survived the Friday mine strikes apparently made it back to their positions. It's very, very awful to see how Russians are walking without punishment, the drone operator complained. Pro-Russia Republicans in the U.S. Congress continue to hold up $61 billion in aid that U.S. President Joe Biden has proposed to sustain the Ukrainian war effort. Negotiations are ongoing, but the U.S. House of Representatives doesn't reconvene until early January. Unless and until Biden can spend the money, the Russians might continue to enjoy good fortune around Avdiivka. They might not capture the city, but they could live to keep trying.